Welcome along to Hong Kong Direct, your one-stop shop for everything Hong Kong racing related, of course. And we are not too far away from a huge race meeting coming up at the end of this month. It is FWD Champions Day here at Sha Tin, and we have had the runners selected for those three feature races. Let's take a look at the fields. The QE2 Cup will have horses representing countries like Hong Kong, of course, the UK and also Japan represented in the big showpiece over 2,000 metres. Romantic Warrior versus Dubai Honour. Certainly a clash there to savour amongst others in the race as well. The mile, well, it all focuses around the hometown hero, doesn't it? Golden 60 will have most of the locals to take on. California Spangle, of course, the notable one. But My Oberon will be visiting from Australia. And we've got a runner from New Zealand in the shape of Aegon coming over to run in the Champions Mile. Thoroughly looking forward to seeing him compete in that one. And the sprinting division, it's the Chairman's Sprint Prize, and Lucky Swainer certainly standard in that race. Wellington could well be his biggest challenger. We've got Aguri from Japan, and Flaming Rib will be representing Great Britain for trainer Hugo Palmer. So plenty to look forward to as far as that meeting is concerned. And one man who can shed a bit more light on the meeting is the head of racing product. It is Greg Carpenter. And I managed to chat with Greg regarding FWD Champions Day.
I'm really pleased with the quality of international entry that has been assembled. 9 horses in total at this stage, and as I said, 17 days still to play out. 5 horses in the QE2 Cup. 2 horses travelling for the mile to take on the might of Golden 60, and 2 horses for the Chairman's Sprint Prize. And since these 3 races came together on the one day in 2018, the best number we've had in the past is 8, so really pleased that we've got 9 at this point coming to Hong Kong to race at Sha Tin on April 30.
Talking of numbers, Greg, obviously international competition in horse racing now has become a huge thing. 11 international Group 1 winners across the board for these 3 races. I mean, that is quite something, and quite a collection of equine talent.
Well, there certainly is, and a number of those, of course, are Hong Kong trained horses. Right at the moment, Hong Kong is in a very, very strong position on the international stage. When the first list of international ratings for 2023 were published in March, Hong Kong had the 3 highest rated horses on the globe to that point in Golden 60, Romantic Warrior and California Spangle. And they've been joined in the last month or so by Lucky Swainer, who's taken his international rating to well beyond 120. He is a world-class horse. So a number of Group 1 winners, both Hong Kong and also international trained horses coming for FWD Champions. So I'd have to say that the QE2 Cup itself, with Dubai Honour, with Hishiaguazu, with Danon the Kid, with Geraldina, and hopefully we'll talk about her. She's a horse that I just can't wait to see, by Maurice out of Gentle Donna, the winner of 2 Japan Cups, Naree McKinnon, a Group 1 race in Dubai. So I can't wait to see her daughter, Geraldina, run. And that's really going to be one of the great highlights of this calendar year. And of Hong Kong racing in recent memory, this year's QE2 Cup is going to be one of the strongest international fields we've assembled here in a long time.
We are very used, Greg, to having the Japanese as constant visitors here in Hong Kong. We love seeing them and love welcoming them as well. But we've got New Zealand this time around. We've got another Australian runner from Annabelle Nish, and we've got Dubai Honour, as you mentioned. So nice to be pulling runners in from different corners of the globe.
It is. As you say, we've got 5 horses from Japan, Aegon from New Zealand, and My Oberon for Annabelle Neesham. And in the sprint division, Aguri, the Japanese sprinter, and also Flaming Rib, the younger horse who we'll talk about in a moment. But let's talk about the mile itself. It was always going to be a tough ask to get horses to come here and take on Golden 60 on his home turf. The job doesn't get much easier when you think that they've also got to get past California Spangle. So I'm really encouraged that Annabelle Neesham has decided to travel My Oberon. He was a horse who was trained in Europe by William Haggis. He was Group 1 placed in France. He ran 4th in a Prince of Wales's over 2,000 metres at Royal Ascot. He travelled to Dubai and ran 6th in the Shima Classic there. Since he's been to Australia and gone into the care of Annabelle Neesham, he won the Group 2 Crystal Mile at Moonee Valley last October, and he comes here off an outstanding runner-up effort behind Mr Brightside in the Doncaster Mile, which really is one of the strongest mile races in Australia, and he was only very narrowly beaten in that race. Andrew Forsman is an emerging trainer in Australia and New Zealand. He partnered up with Murray Baker, a Hall of Famer trainer in New Zealand. Andrew's now gone out on his own and he's bringing Forrest Ajon. He won a Group 1 Guineas in New Zealand. He won the Hobartville Stakes at Group 2 level in Australia. And he comes off some really solid efforts in the Group 1 All Stakes and Futurity.
Seen recently here in Hong Kong, Greg, obviously we had our recognised trials only a week or so ago. Lucky Sweynesse obviously did very little to tarnish his reputation going into it. He was very good, and so too California Spangle. Did either of those two really impress you going into the end, towards the end of the month?
Well, I think Lucky Sweynesse has impressed me since I've arrived here in Hong Kong. If you take out his unlucky run in the Hong Kong Sprint back in December, he swept all before him. He's extended out to the 1400 metres and he beat California Spangle there. He switched back to the 1200 metre race and he carried the £5 penalty, as did Wellington. Wellington really pushed him, but I thought it was a dominant effort by Lucky Sweynesse. He's rated 123 internationally now, and on that basis he's going to be extraordinarily hard to beat in the sprint. The two challengers there are Aguri from Japan. He's won more than 50% of his race starts. He won a group race over 1400 metres, and that was his fourth win on the bounce, and then went to the Group 1 Japanese sprint held in February, went in there as one of the favourites in the race, ran into a heavy track, loomed up, hit the front with 250 metres to go, and then got run over in the final stages. So I think Aguri, don't be misled by his rating. He's a horse on the up and on the move. He's going to run really well in the race. And Flaming Rib is the younger horse from Great Britain, Hugo Palmer's stable. Second in a Commonwealth Cup Group 1 level at Royal Ascot last year. They took him to Haydock late in the season. He ran fourth there against the older horses in the Group 1 Haydock sprint. And then when he resumed in 2023, he won the major sprint in Doha. The same night, Russian Emperor won the mile and a half race. He won the sprint. He was favoured in the Alquots, but really didn't run his race. So Hugo Palmer, I'm glad that he's bringing him here for the sprint. And of course, he's part owned by Michael Owen, one of the greats of English football. So Flaming Rib and Aguri add some real interest to that sprint race. But I must say, it's going to be very hard to get past both Lucky Sweynesse and Wellington on their home track.
It certainly will be, that's for sure. Chautauqua, in fact, the only internationally trained winner of that race in recent years. So a couple certainly not running scared of Lucky Sweynesse and co. He did, of course, win last weekend in our recognised trials, taking the Sprint Cup. We also had the Chairman's Trophy as well, and we can now look back on what happened last weekend.
Wellington kicks, Lucky Sweynesse responds, goes with him, takes over now from Master 8, Cordyceps 6. It's Lucky Sweynesse, he's being made to work for it. He's a half a length over Wellington and Master 8, but he's simply too good. He's Lucky Sweynesse.
For the first half of the race, well, once we got out of the gates for the first half of the race, then it worked out well, but then when they backed the speed off and bunched, coming to the corner, of course, I had to come out a little bit early and let him stride, but he was always going to win.
Last one in 14, he won very well and keeping a good seat, and then he showed us the dash. At this moment, we enter June in Tokyo. The last minute, I need to discuss with the owner first. Our target is end of this month, you know, so let's see.
California Spangle and Money Catcher. Wake making California Spangle work. He finds now his quality. He leads 3/4 Money Catcher. He's had to dig deep. He dug deep and he won.
It's probably the first time he's been on the canvas and got himself up off it and got the job done, so hopefully he takes a bit of confidence out of that.
You know, that's really not his style of racing, really. I think we've learned from today. I think next time in the Champions Mile, he'll definitely go to the front.
Yes, two very smart performances, I think you'd agree. Two very good wins, and California Spangle doing extremely well to battle back and win like he did. Let's take a look at the diary. Here's what's coming up in the next few meetings in Hong Kong. We're racing this Saturday, of course, on the 15th. Back to Happy Valley on the 19th of Wednesday, and Sha Tin on the 23rd. That is a Sunday meeting. The week before, FWD Champions Day coming up on the 30th. Well, as we leave you on this edition of the show, we're going to feature one of the Japanese winners of the QE2 Cup. It was, of course, the wonderful race mare Loves Only You. Enjoy this win. It was a very impressive one, and we look forward to having your company next week on Hong Kong Direct. Goodbye.
Time Warp with 500 metres left to go leads. Daring Tact on the inside, Exultant, hard ridden. Loves Only You from Glory Vase. The leader is still Time Warp. Over on the outside, Loves Only You from Daring Tact, and then came Exultant. Glory Vase is running on. Time Warp, he's going a big race. Loves Only You, Daring Tact, and out wide Glory Vase. It's the girls. Loves Only You's in front. Daring Tact is coming again from Glory Vase. Loves Only You, what a day. Vincent Ho, Loves Only You for Japan.